You've probably been measuring influence wrong all along, because being an influential CEO is by far one of the most underrated skill to have. And I'm not talking about being an influencer. I'm truly talking about being influential, where your presence alone is creating massive wave, where you are leading your life through the pure lens of expansion, and where you don't even need to say a word. Every single person around you, including your clients, know the standard that you hold, and they wish to be part of your world. Influence is truly what dictates how fast you can go and how much further you can get through just being a leader. We are back for another episode. It's me, your host, Malika. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you are having an amazing Tuesday. Go grab your matcha, go on your hot girl walk. I know it's getting colder here in Montreal, but hey, it's fine. Put a coat on. Today's episode really hit me because I really thought about how when I first started my business, I was mainly creating content from a creator lens, right? And then after that, I started creating more from a marketing lens. And throughout my years in business, I got to see how much being influential is very underutilized. And I feel like because I have had the experience of being an influencer, like literally being influencer and also running a business at the same time, I have had the experience of what it is like to harness influence, but not just to create content, right? And have likes and have comments and whatever, but truly being the kind of leader that other people look up to, being able to harness that for your business as well and within your life as well. Because the thing that I found is that when you are too much on the scale of being an influencer or posting like a content creator, it's like it's not really creating the result that you wanted to create. But then also when you are too much into the marketing and just being like hardcore, like this is my service, this is my business, this is what you need to buy, then it's like it doesn't really do the effect of like being influential and like we want to be part of your world. And this basically all comes down to being a thought leader. Like being a thought leader in your industry, but also in your life. Because I truly believe that like how you do one thing is how you do everything. This is a saying that like I've picked up when I think I was like so young. I don't even know who was saying this, but I remember there was someone online saying how you do one thing is how you do everything. And it is so true. And truly thought leadership starts with self-leadership, with how you are, leading yourself through your life through the pure lens of expansion, because that is the lens in which I lead from, right? And it's gonna look different for everyone else. But for me, it's truly leading through the lens of expansion, of how can I expand my life? How can I expand my energy? How can I expand every single aspect of my life? And for me, it's truly about choosing where my energy goes. Like where, that's I feel like for me, the baseline is like, where do I put my energy and my attention? Because I know that every single part that I focus on is going to expand. In my earlier journey, it was a lot about, my energy was going a lot towards proving I was successful and showing, look, like to my parents or to people around me, like, look, like I'm doing it, whatever. And I realized that like doing that was always coming from a place of like, not the right energy. Like I was basically expending this energy of always chasing this validation. And I was like, this does not feel like expensive. Like this does not feel expensive. And when I finally switched that around and I started doing things, not because I wanted to look like I was successful, but because I truly was going from a place of like pure passion. And like, this is actually this is actually so thrilling. I love doing this challenge. I love like going in this new direction. I love doing this. I don't know, like it was from such a different energy that I was leading myself, and it made it so that I didn't just gain so much more energy back, but there was so much less resistance in the way of like comparing myself or looking around or being like, oh, is this good enough what I'm doing, whatever, because I was finally just calling back all of my freaking energy back to myself, right? And I think like that is also where self-leadership like starts, right? It's kind of like where you are truly able to put such a strong filter around you of like, let me not be bothered by what everybody else is doing and just focus on like leading where I actually need to go, right? A lot of the decisions that I make now really goes through the lens of, is this building my long-term vision? Do I want this long-term? Like when I'm deciding how to run my business, how to run my systems, how to post my content, how to build my brand, I'm always thinking through the lens of, is this something that I want to do long term, right? Because, for example, if all I were to do was just to push out the max amount of content and then I feel so fucking drained, I'd be like, this is not the fucking vibe. Like, do I want to fucking do this forever? Probably fucking not, right? And so for me, like, I feel like this is a lesson that I've learned that we mentioned in the previous episode that we did last week, but how you decide to lead yourself now will not change once you get to a certain milestones. And what I mean by this is that I always used to think, once I start making this amount per month, I am going to be able to travel more and I'm going to have more time for myself. My day is going to look different. And then once I did arrive to that milestone, that I said I was going to do things differently, I didn't do things differently. Why? Because the whole way there, I basically was building all the reps to keeping up with the way of doing it like that, right? Like that's how I was doing it. I was like always doing more, just do more, just push hard, just do whatever. And I was like, wait, hold on a fucking minute. I am here where I said things would change, and yet it feels the exact same, right? And that is because wherever you go, there you are, right? This is a quote that my brother loves. It's like, wherever you go, there you are. And, it's like, it's kind of like this principle of like, how you decide to lead yourself now is exactly how you will lead yourself, like, regardless of the milestone that you are at, because that is the rep that you are building in. Right? Like you're building more rep. And it's like, that is the habit that you have. Everything comes down to, do I want this long term? Is this building my vision long term? Because if it's not, then why am I doing it? Like that is truly how I look at how I make my decision, how I lead my life, how even like, with the people that I have around me. And the reason why I have very few friends is because my time is very precious to me, and so it needs to also like feel like an expansion of my life, of my energy. And I don't have time for friendship that you can't give me the standard that I hold, because for me it feels like disrespecting myself almost. And I know that some people rather go and look at like, oh, but I rather have this person in my life than not at all. And that is not how I see things. Truly, I honestly see it as, if you cannot meet my standard, then it literally feels like I'm disrespecting myself and I'm giving myself less than what I think I deserve. And so even though I'm like, yes, you are a great person and amazing and everything, you still are not amplifying my life to the level that I am able on my own. And so it, like, you know what I mean? And so all of my decision truly goes to the extent of like, do I want this long term? Like, is this expanding me, or is this just a decision from a habit that I used to have? And I feel like the next thing when you are leading yourself through your life, it's truly about like the standard that you set, right? I feel like for me, especially when I was a service provider, well, I'm still technically a service provider, but when I was doing makeups and I was really like in the beauty industry and everything, I didn't understand so much the impact of being a leader in my field, because I was like, oh, but like I don't need to be a leader or I didn't even think about that. That didn't even cross my mind. And I didn't realize the impact that would have. But, especially when you are looking to scale, being a leader in your field and holding different standard with the people around you, with the habits that you have, with the clients that you accept, with the rate that you uphold, and especially also if you are a coach or you are coaching your clients or you are a mentor of any kind, or that it's relationship, manifestation, mindset, sales, whatever, it's all part being a leader when you are looking to scale your life and scale your business, right? Because the standard that you hold, it will always pour into your life. And when you are the one leading in your industry, in your field, right? That is when you are not just seen as another service provider. You're not just seen as another coach. You're not just seen as another content creator. You are literally seen as the person that now it's holy shit, she knows what she's doing. She's leading the whole ass field. And it creates another perception because you are so deeply leading yourself, and therefore it creates kind of another effect of you can now start leading your field, and then your clients and people around you start becoming part of that world because they're like, holy shit, I love the way that you are leading yourself. I love the way that you are taking space in your field, and how you are giving people permission to have this kind of standard or think this kind of way, or you know what I mean? It gives people permission. It gives your clients permission. It gives other people around you permission. And it also gives yourself more permission to think differently, to have different standard, to not be fucking okay with whatever it is that the neighbor next to you is saying you should be okay with. Truly, what starts happening when you are leading yourself so strongly is that your presence online and, with your personal brand starts becoming uncopyable. Right? And I think that's truly what it means to be an influential CEO, and why it's so underutilized, because of how much we underutilize that skill. And when we are showing up online, right, it is truly to have the ability to be an influential CEO, that your presence is so uncopyable. And when you lead yourself fully, it's not just your audience that follows you, but they invest in you, they trust you, they come back to you, they buy to you. And this applies that you have a service of any kind, that you are an artist, that you are a nail tech, a makeup artist, that you are a coach, a wellness service provider, whatever, an esthetician, it doesn't matter. I think that this is a skill that is very, very underutilized. People truly follow and want to pay more are the CEOs who are influential, because you are opening the doors for other people. You are the one giving permission. You are the one holding a higher standard. You are the one making waves in your field. And the one thing that all of the most successful people have in common is that they're all deeply hated and deeply loved, right? Because they are leaders. Think of Taylor Swift. Oh my God, how many Swifties is there, and how many Swifties hater is there, right? Same thing if I think of Shelby Sapp. So many people are like, she's a scammer, don't trust her, and then so many people are like, she's a marketing ass queen. I think there's always these two sides of the coins, and I can also say that I have personally experienced this, and I truly see it as a good thing. If you can be deeply hated and deeply loved, that means that your marketing is bomb, number one, but also you are truly the embodiment of a leader. And I've had something happen to me a couple of years ago, and this is a story I've never told before. Get ready, it's something. A couple of years ago, a friend of mine, did a YouTube video on me, and he did ask me beforehand. He was like, can I make a video on you? And I said, yeah, sure. But it was basically a roast video of my online presence, how I express myself, or whatever. It was just a pure roast video. This video was uploaded for like literally anyone to see and find, including all of my friends at the time. And obviously like so many people watched it, so many people that I knew watched it, I knew me watched it. It's actually crazy to think about because someone else that I know or that I knew, she also had an online presence and he did that to her, which was another roast video about her, and it actually made her stop posting. And for me, when I saw that, I was so used to people making fun of me that I truly could not be unbothered. Like, obviously, I was a bit taken aback because he was my friend, or so I thought, but obviously we're not friends anymore. He was not really a good friend. But, you know, I think that like this is something that maybe like we see as like a bad thing. Like, oh my God, this person did this or commented this about me, or like maybe they're gonna call me X, Y, and Z or like whatever. But like that is the price of having good marketing. Like that is the price of being a leader. That is the price of taking space, of not just taking up some space and like being like tiptoeing around, but actually making the kind of huge tsunami waves that gets you instantly noticed, right? And that is also when your life and your business scale the most and expand the most, because holy shit, you are not just a little mice. Like, no, people notice you. People notice you. You know what I mean? For that to happen, people have to notice you. They have to watch you. They have to consume you. They have to be so aware of what you are doing to the point where they get to create a video dedicated to you, or where they get to really have all of these thoughts about you. And that is when you take up the most space into people's mind. And there's always the flip side to that, right? Where I've had so many people come up to me and say how much they love my podcast. It's always so crazy to me when people come to me in real life and they're like, I love your podcast. And I'm like, oh my God, like real people listen to this. I mean, I know that you guys listen to this, but I don't know. It's just like so different in person. Or how many clients tells me how much this worked, or building their personal brand or whatever has changed their life, or what I do has changed the way they think or their perspective or whatever. And how like they're like, oh my God, you gave me permission to do this, or like you gave me permission to share my story in a way that like feels so empowering to me, and all these stuff. And there's always the flip side to the, you know, there's always two sides to the coin. And this kind of ties into being like the it girl online, right? When I think of like, you know, being an influential CEO, it also comes with, you know, becoming the it girl online. The one that like, you know, people binge, they come back to, they buy from, they're obsessed with, kind of like being like, you know, the popular girl online within your own community and your own clientele. And I think it's like one of the hardest thing to implement, and it's not necessarily because it takes so much effort or that it's overly complicated, but simply because it does require you to face like one of your biggest fear, which is either being disliked or being seen as like too much. Like, why are you trying so hard? Like, you know what I mean? That is exactly why most people suck at it. It's because of how it doesn't just require you to show up, but it also requires you to face all of these things and be okay with it and show up regardless, you know? And I think like one of the most common traits across all of my clients, that what they have when I know they're going to be so extremely successful online, or they're about to be even more successful online, is that they're always showing up within the same fucking energy no matter what. And also when you are showing up in a way that like sets different standard because of the way that you are leading yourself in your life, because of the way that you are leading yourself in every single aspect of your life. And that reflects when you are showing up as that influential CEO. And that is, I feel like, why it is the most underutilized skill that you can have, that yet is like so freaking impactful and so powerful to have. I think it's safe to say that we can definitely tie that in with, you know, taking full responsibility for your results, or for the results that you see, especially when you are showing up online, or if you are on that path of like being that it girl online or scaling your business, you know, because I feel like it can be so easy to be like, oh, it's the algorithm, or it's that like I don't get why people don't like my content, like it's definitely not me, or like it's definitely something else, you know, it comes from the outside, right? But that is, I feel like, when you give all the power away to actually being able to have a solution to make it better and fix it, and double down on that mastery of how you are just leading yourself and how you can do things better in a way that like actually gets you the outcome that you want. So, being good with having, feedback that is good or bad so you can make the right adjustments so that you can have exactly what it is that you want. For example, for me, like one of my biggest thing was to just execute, think less, execute more. And that's something that, when my brother would tell me this, I'd be like, you just don't understand. Like, but no, like, it's like, it comes with also accepting that like, yes, like definitely this is one of my flaws. Like I overthink and I need to be able to execute more than what I create or what I think. And so for me, like that is something that like, I feel like as you start to lead yourself more, you start to also see yourself more, and where you have to kind of adjust your perspective or adjust, the result that you're getting, or accept the responsibility of the result that you are getting. I think it's safe to say that as a leader, you want to regularly check in with yourself and be like, am I acting through the lens of expansion? Am I leading myself in a way that like is exactly how, like that actually match the vision that I have for myself, for my life, for my business? But most of all, I think I want to leave you on this note that like influential CEOs are not looking around because they are the one leading. They're not comparing themselves. They're not being like, oh my God, like this person has this person has this. They're just thinking in their head, I am here. This is where I want to go. How am I leading myself to go there? Right? Because when you start doing that, you're not just calling back all of your energy, but you get there much faster, and you get to decide what works and what doesn't work for you, and what it is that you want and what it is that you don't want. That is when you start scaling fast. That is when you are leading your life that is the most expensive version that it can be. And that is also when you are commending your space. If you love this episode, make sure to take a screenshot, share it to someone, share it to a friend that you know absolutely needs to hear this, and I will meet you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to leave your 5-star rate and review on the podcast. I love to know what you guys think of the episodes, and I will meet you here next week.